Now, what does chemotherapy do? As patients, we're generally told that chemotherapy kills cancer cells because they're fast dividing. But the reality is it kills all cells as they are rapidly dividing. That's why we lose our hair. That's why these fast dividing cells are also in the gut. So this is why there are digestive problems. So the reason why it's killing cancer cells is because they have this unplanned growth from that last chart. They are dividing much faster, so it's killing more of those types of cells. If it can't kill all growing cells, it's going to get those first. But this is why we have these side effects of blood, mouth, digestive, skin, hair, and then the brain. So you can see that if people thought the brain was static, why would they think that, or if there's a blood-brain barrier, gee, yeah, we're going to have digestive problems, but not brain problems. And that's why many of us were never informed about the cognitive side effects. Now, there is a debate. Sometimes I'm working on an article about what websites and what organizations are saying about chemobrain. It's not ready for prime time yet. But what I found when I was reading different sites like the Mayo Clinic, American Cancer Society, is that there are many different takes on this topic of chemobrain. And what I've done is I've actually looked at research studies on my own, and what I found is that there is really, really irrefutable evidence for damage from chemotherapy. So for whatever reason, some scientists prefer certain chemotherapies to research over others. But I'll show you a chart. And these are just two that I want to mention. There was a study in Japan, basically, that compared the size of brains of people who'd had chemotherapy, recently finished chemotherapy, versus normal patients. It was a significant size. And the brains of those who'd had chemotherapy were smaller than those who had not, suggesting that there is brain atrophy from chemotherapy. And that basically, after 2 years, the brains were remeasured, and then they actually were larger after 2 years. So what's interesting is that the conclusion drawn from that study by people not doing the study was that, oh yeah, you'll recover because your brain atrophy goes away, but what about the wiring between the cells? Just because you got more brain cells doesn't mean that they're all talking to each other the way they used to. So you think about the stroke patient, you have to rewire the brain for language. And the same thing is true with chemobrain. It has to be, even if you're getting those new cells, that's the good news, they need to be rewired. The other thing that's interesting, which I think is really important for almost everybody in the room, is that when the DNA of that cell is damaged, the stem cell is damaged, it is damaged for years and years and years, and sometimes it's a cascade effect is what it's called. So right after chemotherapy, you may think, well, I'm okay, I'm a little slow, had some more difficulties, but I'm fine now. And then 2, 3, 4 years later, you have brain fog, difficulty making decisions. And so that's when that gets attributed to stress, when in fact, based on, especially this one, the fluorouracil, is that the DNA damage has begun to take its toll. It takes years for that to happen. And this is why MDs who don't know this will say, oh, I think it's just stress or fatigue, when in fact, it's the DNA damage. So there's really, I think, really and truly, the more that professionals can be knowledgeable about this type of research, the more I think they can deliver better advice to their patients.